Do you want a stronger bench press and you've tried progressive overload again and again and again, and you've went to dumbbells, you went back to barbell, and nothing seems to be working? Well, here's some more advanced tips to get you a stronger bench press the smart way. So we've all heard it. Every other video that we see when we're on fitness YouTube or fitness TikTok is progressive overload, watch your form, 5 easy steps. We've all seen it, even I've made videos on it. However, it's time to get a bit more advanced for those of you who are just ready for the next step and can't seem to make it past. So, yes, we all know progressive overload, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the tips and tricks, those quick 5 tips to get you instantly an extra 20 pounds on your bench press, yes, they do work. But there comes a time where you do have to accomplish more in your programming, your training, the intensity, the idea and intent behind each individual movement leading up to getting a stronger bench press. So let's just go ahead, let's get started. If you're interested, stick around. These tips are going to help, I can promise you that. So the first thing we want to talk about is activation and warm up. This is a big part of getting a stronger bench press, is ensuring that the body is primed, ready. All of the synergistic muscles that need to assist during bench press need to be primed, warmed up, mobilized, and overall just prepared for this exercise. So we need to ensure that we are warmed up. Now, there are a lot of muscles that we need to warm up, and for the purposes of them, I will explain. So we need to ensure first and foremost that the shoulders are warmed up. There are a lot of different ways to warm up the shoulders, because not only do we have the anterior, medial, and posterior delt that will play a vital role in ensuring that we have good mobility and overall well-rounded strength, is we need to ensure that external rotation, internal rotation, flexion, and extension are warmed up. We have a lot of rotator cuff muscles. The shoulders are a very tricky joint, and we need to ensure that it is ready to hold heavier weight and move through the full range of motion without any compromise of form, any risk of injury, and we need to minimize any chance that we have of hurting those shoulders. So we need to warm them up. So as you can see, what I'm doing here is we are going through a wide range of shoulder movements to ensure that we're nice and warmed up. The reason why we work the external rotators is because we need to make sure that we are stable while we're pressing the bar away and we're bringing the bar down to our chest. Yes, so as they're warmed up, they're going to help keep the shoulders secure and make sure that they don't rotate internally, externally more than they need to if they're warmed up and primed. Internal rotation is just to help balance out the joint for internal and external rotation, plus it warms up the inside of the shoulder, which is going to be taxed pretty heavily during the bottom range of motion for the bench press. Now what we're doing here is we're heavily working on scapular movement. This is the next thing outside of shoulder preparedness, is the scapula need to be mobile, they need to be warmed up, because you need to ensure that those scapula are retracted and depressed. Keep them pinched through the entire movement, and it's very exhausting if they're not ready, and if they're not activated, they will not do it efficiently, and it's really easy to undo the pinching and depression of the shoulder blades. So we need to make sure that they're ready, they're warmed up, and they're strengthened. What we're doing here is we're warming up our triceps and our lats. So these straight arm lat pull downs are helping us with engaging the bar. Keeping our lats engaged are going to prevent our elbows from coming up while we're benching, which puts our shoulder joint at an exposed angle when our elbows come up, and it's a lot more dangerous to go through the movement. We need to ensure that the long head of the triceps prepared, because that also will keep the arm nice, close, compact where it needs to be. That way we're in a nice stacked position, and it's going to allow us to generate way more force in a much safer manner. Now we're going into the specific warm-up. This is where we get the barbell and we slowly add weight over the course of the main part of the workout, which is, of course, our primary focus right now is just regular bench press. Now eventually we will start conjugate, and that will allow us to switch out variations every 2 to 4 weeks to keep the body adapting and avoid hitting any certain plateaus, whether that's block press, floor press, JM press, close grip bench press, chamber bar bench press. There are a lot of different variations that will ensure that we're getting stronger and we're moving forward and constantly adapting. So we're just going to slowly add weight, working up to our working sets. So we're taking planned rep scheme jumps. So we go typically anywhere from 15 reps with an empty bar, and we slowly decrease by 2 or 3 or 4 as we add weight, getting up to our top working weight. And I'm going nice low and slow, very tired, but I want to be methodical with it. If you don't plan your jumps properly, then it will slow down your progress because you're going to fatigue yourself too quick, or you're not going to be warmed up enough, and you're not going to be able to hit the weights that your body actually is capable of hitting. So plan those out well and make sure you're properly activated and warmed up going into it. Now we're going to do barbell shoulder press. This exercise is an auxiliary exercise which is meant to support and allow us to push the adaptation of pressing strength even further. This is going to assist us in driving up the strength adaptation in our prime movement, being the bench press. For me personally, shoulder strength has never been one of my primary lifts, and because of that my shoulders are weaker and I need them to catch up because they're lagging behind. So even though I can press a lot more over my head, we have to lower the weight, mostly because during this I did not expect the overall volume to be this fatiguing when I was getting ready for this workout. Didn't program it properly, but overall, I'm fitting within my rep scheme, so I'm working up my overall work capacity, and it's making a big difference. So we're pressing, and I'm trying to be as strict as possible, and you can see the first 2 clips, I am really strict with it, and then towards the end, I start kipping up, getting a little bit more leg drive, because I need to keep those shoulders stacked to get the overall time under tension and volume closer to where I want it to be. And as I continue to do this, my body will adapt and get stronger and allow me to push further with weight and overall load, volume, and time under tension. Like I said, this is a lot lighter than I wanted it to be, but you have to humble yourself, check the ego at the door, and make sure that you can follow the rep schemes, trust the process, follow the program, and keep moving forward. Next up, we have wide grip rows. If you want a strong push, you need a strong pull. A strong and hypertrophied or thick upper back will allow us to have a nice strong foundation to push off of when we're bench pressing. It'll help keep everything retracted and depressed as well. So overall, we're working on getting a big back, and we're working up. I already know kind of what weight I need to do. I was not able to go as heavy on these just because doing this bent over motion was taxing on my hamstrings, which the day before I did deadlifts. So I was not able to properly support myself. So you saw me put my head on the end of the bench, which is, hindsight, very funny. Now we're moving on to some accessory work, which technically dips is an auxiliary exercise when it comes to bench. However, I'm not doing heavy weight. I'm just trying to focus on the contraction of the chest, the shoulders, and the triceps to get a good stretch, good range of motion. This is going to help me promote with recovery and hypertrophy. And because of the blood flow that we're getting there, that's what's going to help us recover, because it's going to help flush the waste, and it's going to help promote and bring all the nutrients I need to recover quicker. Plus, training into that range of motion is an active mobility, and it just, trust me, it makes a world of difference. Give it a try. Next up, again, I need to work on my shoulders. You need to work on well-rounded shoulders. A well-rounded shoulder that's strong, prepared, and balanced will allow you to, again, this one's very important, reduce risk of injury, especially if you're working on some heavier weight for bench. Now, is working the lateral head of the delt super necessary for getting a stronger bench? Not at all. However, it will play a vital role in making sure that the movement is well balanced, secure, and stable. So, plus, who doesn't want wider shoulders? Everyone needs to do these. Everyone neglects them, a lot like leg day. Next up, we have tricep extensions. I do them with bands, so it's kind of accommodating resistance where I'm locking out. That's where the most force is, and that's where I want it to be. I want to be strong there at the bottom range of motion, and it's a nice gentle stretch at the top. Again, promoting recovery, mostly focused on hypertrophy. I want more muscle fiber recruitment, so if I have more muscle mass there, it'll allow me to be stronger in extension by the simple fact that I have more muscle to draw from. So we need to balance hypertrophy with maximum movement, make sure we have good range of motion, and then of course I have different training blocks to make sure everything stays functional. So this is simply just an accessory, and of course right here I had to flex because I had a good pump. Now the lighting does me no favors, but I felt pretty vascular. I hadn't had a good pump like this in quite some time. I just should have picked better lighting, so please forgive me for that brief moment of embarrassment. Lastly, we have suitcase marches. Now, this one's a bit of a stretch, most of you will think, but a strong core will also lead to a strong bench. There's a fundamental fact that the more stable and secure your body feels, the more force it can generate, because subconsciously it will not allow you to go heavier due to safety reasons if it feels unsafe. So if you feel safe, you can push more weight. So we're doing a functional movement, working on our obliques, a little bit of grip strength, and a little bit of hip flexors. Get a strong core. Train a little bit every time you go work out. Don't dedicate one day to go do core. It's not enough time. It's too much volume in one day. Break it up. So thank you all for being here with me. I appreciate you a lot. Thank you for supporting me. Make sure you comment and subscribe. Maybe even like the video. As always, stay grinding, stay smiling, and of course, stay silly. I will see you in the next video. Till then, later.